Today was day 2 of Dolphins minicamp. We're going to get a update on minicamp and the Miami Dolphins with Miami Dolphins columnist Chris Perkins, a friend of the show. He joins us on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Shop over 2,000 Toyotas on sale at one location, Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan, toyotaofhollywood.com. Chris Perkins, he covers the Dolphins again for the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Read his work at sunsentinel.com. Perk, appreciate you taking the time. What's the vibe like right now surrounding the Miami Dolphins? Because we're reading a lot about culture change up in Miami Gardens.
Yeah, so Bradley Chubb kind of shot it out of the water today. He said last year we were lying. There was no culture change. We were just saying it. We stuck our toe in the water, but we didn't dive in. So we'll see what the culture change is this season. Mike McDaniel's been a little salty with us. Now, I don't know if he's just sick of answering questions about Ramsey and Jonnu, or if he's actually going to have an edge this year, but it's going to be an interesting year from the culture change standpoint.
And Perk, let's say it is a culture change, right? What's the culture change that has to happen? Because my thing, we've talked about it today, after the Bradley Chubb stuff, the culture change should be more physical and start, whooping somebody's ass. Like, I don't know what the culture change. Guys coming in on time, that's not a culture change. That's getting back to the norm. What is a culture change for the Dolphins?
Yeah, okay. So Crowder, here I start at the top, and I say the attitude has got to change in the organization. You've got to value victories, not numbers. So don't give out those contract extensions after 2023, rewarding numbers. Reward playoff victories. That's when you get a raise. That's when you get a contract extension. For the players, I agree with you 100%. You got to get more physical. But I think that also starts with Mike McDaniel and the players that he chooses. Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer are both genuinely nice guys. The problem is they get players who are just like them. So all the dogs that do Landon Roberts and Deshaun Elliott and guys like that, David Long Jr., they're gone for one reason or another. Javon Holland, Christian Wilkins, Rob Hunt, for whatever reason, they're gone. This team they play a finesse style. They call a finesse game on 3rd and 2. They're not running it down your throat. They're trying some little jet sweep. Run it up the A gap. Knock these dudes off the line of scrimmage. That's culture change.
So why, Perk, what I'm struggling with, because I want to buy into this, and I love everything you're saying. By the way, that's a very long list of really good talent that's no longer here. When this era of Mike McDaniel started, like those were the guys we were saying this is why the Dolphins are going to be great. And it's not to say that they can't replace those guys, but why should I believe Bradley Chubb when he says, okay, we talked about it 2 years ago, but now we're actually committed to this change? Like why now, I guess is why I'm struggling to really take this in, because look, the way I view it, you, Fioronez, Dave Hyde, Barry Jackson, all of you reporters that are going out there, all the columnists are going to grasp onto this, because the Dolphins are making it a point to say, hey, we're changing our culture. And fine, okay, we're going to talk about it, but why should we believe them this time?
We got to see it, Solana. I'm with you 100%. Were you lying then or are you lying now? Right? I mean, so I've got to see it, Solana. I've got to see the calls on 3rd and 2, on 2nd and 1. I've got to see them actually running the ball 25 times a game consistently, not just once a month. I need to see a consistent attitude change. That's the only time I'm going to believe that actual change is being made. And look, and you guys both know this, Crowder, you know this. Back when I covered colleges, every year in August, they would say, it's going to be different this year. There's no more cliques. Last year, the seniors hung with the seniors and the juniors hung with the juniors. This year, we're all going out and eating together. And then the next year, you hear the same thing, where there are a lot of cliques last year. I don't believe it. I've got to see it. That's where I'm with you, Solana. I've got to want to hear about
it. And Perk, in the secondary, man, we know Jalen Ramsey is going to get traded. They mutual agreement or whatever they said. Are we looking at a storm duck Cam Smith? And Cater Kohu in the slot. Jason Marshall Jr. is going to get to work at dime. Like, I haven't seen enough out of those guys to believe in this secondary. Are we going to just stick with what we got?
Yeah, I mean, well, I would say that they're going to make a move for one veteran starter. I don't know if that's going to be a Rasul Douglas, Stephon Gilmore type of player. I don't think number one cornerback out there on the market right now, either through trade or through free agency. That might change after the training camp cuts. I don't see another Jalen Ramsey, Byron Jones, Xavier Howard type out there available on the market. Jair Alexander, he's out of their price range and he's injury prone. Look, let me say this. I'm not totally down on this team. I think they're going to win 9 games. But the problem is 9 games is going to put you back in that Joe Philbin, Adam Gase cycle of mediocrity, right? You're coming off an 8-win season. If you win 9 this year, you look at next year when Tyreek is probably going to be gone because he's a $51 million salary cap charge. So you're probably looking at another 8 or 9 win season. Now you've got 8 wins, 9 wins, 9 wins. That's mediocrity. That's not making the playoffs and winning a playoff game. So bringing it back to the cornerback, I see mediocre levels secondary play and specifically cornerback play. We'll see at the safeties with Ashton Davis and Ife Melifonwu. Neither of them have been consistent starters due to performance and or injury. But this team as a whole, I see them falling into a cycle of Philbin Gates era mediocrity where you win 8, 9 games, maybe 10. Maybe you make the playoffs, maybe you don't, but I surely don't see them winning a playoff game at this point in the next 2 years.
Chris Perkins, again, a Miami Dolphins columnist. You can read his work at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. That means, Perk, if the Dolphins defense is taking a step back, we anticipate because of the lack of depth and just overall talent in that secondary as it stands right now, the offense will need to be clicking. I know there's several different areas of concern on that side of the football as well. But Jonnu Smith, what's your gut telling you about the Jonnu Smith situation? Because Tua told us he's a pay Jonnu guy. Mike McDaniel, as you mentioned, seems to be a little snappy anytime you ask him about Jalen Ramsey or Jonnu, whatever. What's your gut telling you? Because now there's reports as well that the Dolphins are once again looking for a trade partner.
I think Jonnu will be here. I think Zach Sealer is going to be here. I think a little of this is Drew Rosenhaus is the agent for both Zach Sealer and Jonnu. I think that Drew is trying to get his client at the front of the line. At the end of this season, Jalen Phillips is playing on his 5th-year option. If he goes out and has 10 sacks, he's going to gobble up some money. Devon Achane has 2 years left on his contract. After this season, he'll have 1 year left. They'll probably want to do something with Achane. He'll gobble up some money. I think Drew is trying to get his clients at the front of the line, Jonnu and Zach Sealer. I think both will still be here, but I think a big part of this for the Dolphins is both Jonnu and Zach Sealer turn 30 in August and September, I think. If you give them a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal, do you want to be paying a 31-year-old Jonnu Smith $10 million a year, a 32-year-old Zach Sealer $12 or $14 million a year? To me, it's probably more the length of the contract and what you're paying them on the back end as opposed to what you would pay them this season. I think this season you could give both of them a raise and that's good, but when they're 31, 32 years old, how much do you want to be paying those guys?
And Perk, I know it's OTAs, and I don't put too much on the stocking Olympics out there right now. But I think at quarterback, Perk, you can kind of see something. I think we messed around at the backup quarterback for too long. Tim Boyle playing games, Huntley playing games. They bring in Zach Wilson and draft Quinn Ewers. Have we upgraded? What you've seen? Have we upgraded at backup quarterback?
I think Stu Huntley is better than everybody except Tua. That's what I think. But you got Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson was targeted, and he's the guy. He's a clear number 2 ahead of Quinn Ewers. So I don't really see a major shakeup there, even in training camp. I think Zach Wilson is going to be your number 2. But here's the thing. In 2 of the last 3 years, Tua has been injured in September. So Zach Wilson has to be ready day one, right? Last year it was the second game against Buffalo, right? So he has to be ready. Is he going to be ready day one? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But and is he the best backup quarterback they could have gotten? I still think that Snoop Huntley is better than Zach Wilson, but we'll see. Zach looked okay out there so far. It's his first year in this system. He's got a lot of people in his ear. Mike McDaniel, Bobby Slowick, the senior pass game coordinator, Frank Smith, the offensive coordinator, Darrell Bevel, the quarterback coach. So he's got a lot of information to process. I think Zach has done a good job of awareness and processing information and getting the ball out. The actual throws of 15 or more yards have been shaky at times, but I think Zach's been okay. From what we've seen, I would probably give him a C or a C+ so far.
Hey, Perk, do you own jerseys, sports jerseys? It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be Dolphins, or it doesn't have to be NFL jerseys. But like, would you? I don't know. You go to the beach or to the pool. Would you pull out like a Jordan Bulls jersey from the 90s? Like, what's in your closet right now?
You know what? I'm kind of between both of y'all. I heard this argument. Solana, you might need a bit of a culture change on this one. You might need a bit of a culture change here. I would wear. I'll tell you what. I don't own any jerseys. I'm not big in wearing another man's jersey. I'm like Crowder. I definitely would not talk to Michael Jordan wearing a Michael Jordan jersey. No chance in the world. Now, I might wear a Bulls 23 jersey or a Bulls T-shirt, but I'm not talking to Michael Jordan while I'm wearing his jersey. That's I'm not on Michael Jordan's level, but I'm not going to put myself that far behind Michael Jordan. I'm face to face. I'm just not. Sorry.
Testosterone, Solana.
It's not testosterone. Maybe Perk. Maybe I went too far with Crowder showing up to Udonis Haslem's house in an OG jersey. Maybe I went a little too far. But I feel like, man, throwing a couple soccer jerseys into your wardrobe, it doesn't even have to have a name on the back. And maybe, having a Kobe jersey, having a Shaq jersey, like you throw that in your wardrobe. There's nothing wrong with that. Like you're not lacking testosterone.
You're not wrong, Solana, but look, I am the unicorn sports fan. I don't have a favorite team. I don't play fantasy, and I don't gamble. I love all sports, but who else do you know like that?
No,
so that's kind of why I don't have any T-shirts or jerseys. But you're not wrong, Solana. But you can't go over the top with going talking to UD in a UD jersey. You can't be like that. You can't.
I'm with you. See that, Solana? Appreciate you, Perk.
Yeah, that's too much hero worship right there. Gotta have fun. Gotta have something.
Chris Perkins, again, read his work all offseason long. We got training camp about a month and a half away. Perk, looking forward to connecting with you again, reading your work at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Thank you, man.
All right, fellas.